Welcome to Synthaholics. You're not in Riyadh, the world of dreams. This is Synthaholics, and we're here to talk about the Wheel of Time. With me
and other things. Brian,
where?
I don't know where I am. I'm somewhere on the stream.
You're over
somewhere.
There.
I'm over.
And we got Brad returning.
He's all thumbs. Just a serial killer smile.
He's all thumbs today.
All thumbs. That's the commentary from Brad today. Is just all thumbs.
Yeah, just thumbs.
I agree. I like that. I don't like this.
Thumbs up, thumbs down, double thumbs down.
Well, actually, we'll get into that, but I'm thinking we're gonna have some pretty positive reviews. So
wow.
Yeah, I mean, even though I'm a book reader, I'm going to go on the positive side of things because I have a theory for how Wheel of Time, like what they're doing this season. We'll talk about that later. But first, we've got some news. Brian says he's got some news he would like to bring to the table.
Yes. So as only David knows, I am a huge fan of League of Legends.
What?
So with that being said, Riot, who makes League, has made an animated show on Netflix called Arcane. It just finished. I've watched all the episodes. It took down Squid Games from being #1, and it's the highest rated show on Netflix of all time. So if anybody has any interest in it, I suggest watching it. It is very good. It follows 2 champions in League of Legends. It's fantastic. It's the best video game adaptation to animated series or movie ever. That is all I have for today. David, you have one bit of news.
Well, actually, you sent it to me, Brian. Seems like...
Oh, yeah, sure. I'll just keep going. I'll just keep it going. Well, Amazon pretty much has secured a Mass Effect TV series that they'll be filming in some year at some release date, but they have secured the rights and they're going to start working on it. So anybody have any thoughts on that? Because I haven't finished Mass Effect yet.
Again, it's one of those things. If they decide to follow the plot of the games, I'm not optimistic. If they decide to create some unique characters and a new storyline set in the Mass Effect universe, I'm on board for that.
Okay.
I mean,
what about you, David?
I wouldn't mind seeing a Renegade playthrough like on screen, just doing whatever you got to do to save the universe. That could be fun.
Are you saying you just want the whole entire show just to be a person playing the video games? They just stream their playthrough.
It'll just be me playing the video game. That's the show.
That's the show.
That would mean that Shepard would be in every scene of the show.
Yeah.
That would be bad. Yeah, you need to change it up a little bit. Absolutely. You have to adapt it for television. Like if Liara was the main character, I would not be upset. We'll just see her. We'll see her in bondage gear for like 6 hours, just her like being stuck until Shepard finds her. That'll be fun. That'll be a fun watch.
Well, but at the same time, as we've seen from the Mass Effect 4 preview, who did we see? We saw Liara.
Yeah. I mean, Liara is the most logical character to have be the center of Mass Effect because she can, if you're going to do more than 3 seasons or if you want to do more than the 3 games, she could be there before because she's already 100 years old at the beginning of the first game. And her species lives to thousands of years old. So you could just jump far in the future and still have Liara at the center of the thing. And Asari don't age like very much. I mean, so she'd still be hot. So that'd be fine. It works in canon.
It could also be the bridge between Mass Effect 3 and 4.
Yeah, they could do like a series that bridges the series. That would be very interesting as well. You could do lots of neat stuff with the Mass Effect TV show, but Amazon's got like all the geek stuff. I mean, Wheel of Time we're talking about today, Amazon show. The Expanse, one of my favorite shows of all time, Amazon show. The Boys, also an amazing show, also on Amazon. Fallout, Todd Howard himself has confirmed that the Fallout TV show is still in the works. That's also coming to Amazon.
Invincible.
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. Oh, how do we even forget that one?
Well, because it was announced before Wheel of Time and it still isn't out yet. That's why.
Who's directing Lord of the Rings?
Not Peter Jackson.
Peter Jackson?
No,
okay.
Not Peter Jackson. Right. Some new people. It's a whole new crew as far as I'm aware.
I know casting is going to be a hard part for that. So
Oh well, yeah. Well, a lot of it's going to be hard to beat those original those three movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to do. Anywho, moving on to the Wheel of Time, who is authored by Robert Jordan. We're only talking about the book.
and Brian Sanderson, at least the last
Brandon Sanderson.
Brian Sanderson.
No, it's Brandon Sanderson.
No, your name is Brandon, and it was written by Brian Sanderson, right? What? Oh,
yes, agree. I agree.
This is the alternate universe.
We're gonna, as we always do, we're gonna start off with ratings. Brad, we're starting with you. Bring us in.
I'm gonna give a 7 simply because what I'm seeing is good, but I haven't had that like, oh my god, this is amazing moment. I haven't had that moment that I'm like, you have to watch the show to see this. Game of Thrones had a ton of those moments. This show hasn't had that moment yet, in my opinion.
Okay, David.
So episode by episode.
We're not doing episode. We're doing the whole thing right. All of it right now. We'll get into episode to episode.
We're talking about episode 1 through 4. I would personally, first half of the series, and then we're gonna come back and talk about the last half of the series, for our next Wheel of Time talk, episodes 5 through 8. So I would give the first, like, basically the way I rate the episodes. The first episode was the lowest for me because it was basically fan fiction, and I'll explain more of that later. Actually, episode 4 is mostly fan fiction, but I'm okay with episode 4 because that's why I've figured out what they're doing with the series. I'm pretty sure. But episode 1, I'd probably give like a 6, and then it just gets better and better, like 7, 7.5, 8. Like the show's been really good. So overall, I'd say average about a 7.5, 8 so far. I'm really enjoying it. I've been wanting to see this show on TV since I was a kid. I mean, I started reading these books when I was like 13, 14. Like I started real young, and I followed the books. I actually just finished the entire series a year ago. I took a break during the slog books. So there's definitely some things I really hope they do, like, just cut out, because there is a little bit of fluff in the middle that they could do without, and some of those books were hard to get through. But overall, the series is fantastic. It's one of my favorite book series of all time. The show's getting good. I agree with Brad. There isn't that, oh my god, you've got to watch this moment, except for I'm pretty much telling everyone you should watch the show. I want the show to do well, and I want to see them get to the future seasons. Because season 1 is just a block building season. They're following the book where they can, kind of, but they're doing more building blocks. That's what I'm getting from season 1 so far. Brian.
The show has not pulled me in. There's too many characters. There's too many bad guys. It seems like everybody's a bad guy. I don't know who the good people are. I'm still trying to understand all the characters. Right now, it like you just said, it is getting better as it's going on, but I would not recommend it yet. And not until episode 4 is the first episode that I enjoyed, but we're getting there. I don't like hate it or anything, so I'll give it like a 6 right now for the first 4 episodes. I will say, that being said, Brandon Sanderson said his favorite episode is episode 6, and the Amazon people liked episodes 7 and 8 so much that they just renewed it for the next season. So
it's halfway through filming season 2, and I think it's been renewed for season.
No, it was renewed. It was renewed for season 3 based on episodes 7 and 8 of this season. So, from what I understand, it sounds like the best has yet to come. That's what I think.
I mean, that's just the same for the books. I mean, the books just get better and better too until you reach that slog point, book 9, 10, and kind of 11, and then it picks back up again. With a force at the very end. But yeah, I mean, that's the same thing. I mean, the first book's good. I enjoyed it. But I definitely think the books got better and better. And oh my god, I mean, for people who haven't seen the show, like, there's some really neat foreshadowing in episode 4, which, like, once I watched it on the second viewing, I was like, whoa, that's great. That's great. I can't wait to see that little Easter egg come to fruition.
In episode 4?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
here, let's rewind. What was that, Brad?
I think episode 4 certainly established some stakes. Like,
Oh, for sure.
you don't really have a feel for what the gamble is until episode 4.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
All right, so
now
let's rewind back to episode 1.
All the way back. All the way back. Let's go back to like Hobbiton. Like that Hobbiton city town looking
the Two
thing.
Rivers.
Is that the name of the town?
That's the name of the town. The Two Rivers is part of Edmonds Field.
So the first thing I want to bring up is there's like a merchant guy that tries to sell something.
Patton Fane.
Is that the merchant guy? He's black. He has he had like a really big mouth. I thought he was really cool.
Smile. He is great.
I want more of him. He looked cool.
He will. I mean, since they included him in the first episode, then he's definitely coming back at some point, because there's characters that have not made it to the show yet, which I'm afraid may be completely written out. But since he's in episode 1, he's got to be showing up later. Otherwise, there's no reason to show him.
The fact that he didn't freak out when everyone in the city is being ripped to pieces is the big clue that it's like he knows what's going on.
He's seen some stuff.
Yeah.
He's seen some stuff.
Yeah, he's
well first
right.
I want to understand something first.
Yeah.
How many bad guys are in this? So from what you've told me is that it drives men, this power drives men crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's jumping ahead a little bit.
That's the cold open. Actually, no, that's the cold open for the show. Is like a man who can channel the one power is running away from the Red Sisters. He thinks there's 2 men there, and that's interesting because I kind of think that's how they're gonna do. Since they're not doing any internal monologue, really, I'm guessing that's how they're gonna do it when the actual Dragon Reborn comes. I'm guessing they're actually gonna cast someone as the actual previous dragon who will be there standing next to our new Dragon Reborn and talking to him much in the same way that this other person was. I'm hoping, because I figure that's foreshadowing. Otherwise, that scene is completely made up. I mean, sure, the Red Sisters, gentle men who can channel, but I'm guessing that beginning part is foreshadowing for how it's going to happen to our actual Dragon Reborn.
Well, see, here's my problem. Here's my problem so far. There's a lot of bad guys, and I have. Unless I'm missing something.
Are you just counting all the different Trollocs?
No. There's Trollocs. Those are the deer stuff, the deer people or whatever. Trollocs, right?
Yeah, the monster,
the animal ones.
Yeah,
there's those.
Mm-hmm.
Then there is like that black stuff that like ate a horse in episode 2, I think.
That's just Shadow Logoth.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
That's just the taint of that place. That place is cursed because they didn't help Manetherin.
Then there's the people in white.
They're religious. They're religious fanatics. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Then they're the Spanish Inquisition. No one expects the Spanish Inquisition.
So there's those ones, and then also the why are they hunting this guy? From what we've seen or at least from what I think I've seen with this guy, he had like voices in his head when they were like attacking a castle or something. This is in episode 4, and he like saved some guy from like stabbing him. To me, I don't understand why he's like a bad guy. Why are all the women hunting him? What has he done? I don't know what he's done.
Well,
you know what I mean?
You should rewatch the first episode. Because Moraine, her opening monologue where she's putting her clothes on, her opening monologue is basically like, in the last age, men thought they could, defeat the Dark One, so they tried to opened his gate. Their arrogance caused, untold destruction because, in sealing him up, the Dark One tainted the male half the one power. It drove men crazy, and men with their power broke the world. Like not Middle Earth. The world of Wheel of Time is our world. We are living in what is considered the first age. They are at the end of the third age. An age is a giant chunk of time. So
sure.
from the beginning of what we consider time to still probably hundreds or thousands of 1,000 years in the future from now is the first age, and then there's another couple thousand years which are the second age. Second age is what she's talking about, because most people don't remember what's happened in the first age except for Gleeman. Some Gleeman do know some things that happened in the first age, so
the show wants me just to take the women's word for it right now.
Well, Moraine's because she's like our hero. She's set up to be like the hero of the first season.
Sure. That I mean, I
you take her
understand
word
that.
for it. You don't listen to anything the Red Sisters have to say. The Red Sisters are like, I mean, they are kind of villainous in the books, but they're like 100%, not even slightly redeemable so far in the series. They're just awful people in the series so far.
So what about these religious zealots then? Where do they fall in? Because they like straight up like burn a human or burn a person. Well, the dude like drinks from like a silver goblet.
That was
an intense scene, and I really like that scene a lot. That made me like that guy.
Burn the witches.
So he's
if she weighs the
so
same
if
as
they
a
have
duck,
the have the power, then so the religious people don't like the women with power.
They think anyone who can use the power are dark friends. The girl in episode 3, someone who's sold their soul and body to the dark. They think anything. So basically, the Aes Sedai are like the males who use the one power are bad because the dark one tainted it. The White Cloaks are like anyone who can touch the power must be a terrible person, and therefore they're bad.
Okay. I understand that.
And again, that's my big hang up, is that I don't really feel like the show is doing a good job of explaining this backstory. That I understand you don't want to just do an exposition dump, but even something as simple as saying your kind are a danger to the world, we can't tolerate you, something like that. But that's not how that scene goes.
It feels like that scene was like cut. Like it's just bizarre. It's like some things like episode 1 and episode 4 are specifically made for people who have not read the series, and then parts of episode 2 are like, this is for people who read the books, and I'm like, I mean, I like getting a little bit of my fan service or whatever to me. I'm like, oh, this is cool. But the fact that also it doesn't make a lot of sense to me that he was able to capture a Aes Sedai anyway, unless he like somehow drugged her or got someone else to drug her. There's something called fork root. It's a kind of tea. It prevents people from touching the source of the power. So if people drink that, then they can't channel. So I'm guessing that's what he probably had some innocent person like drug her tea, and then they just like found her powerless and like strung her up. Because I don't know how, because Moraine explained Aes Sedai can use the power to protect themselves. I'm like, well, if White Cloak's coming after you, I'm guessing that's protecting yourself. So I don't know.
Okay.
And
So
even
making
with Game of Thrones, there were plenty of stuff there were plenty of guides like on their website and stuff like that explained all of these things. They would say, you missed anything from the episode, come to the website. We've got all this stuff. It's interactive. You could see all of it. This doesn't really do that.
There is stuff on the site though. Like there is stuff on the site. It's minimal. You know, go buy the first book, Eye of the World. The last like 40 pages is a glossary defining all the new words. Like, what is the wisdom? What is an Aes Sedai? What is a Ter Angriel? What is Teleran Riad? What are the White Cloaks? Like it's like a little like glossary for the world, because I mean there are so many terms, and I think that's what season 1 is trying to do, because people are collectively losing their freaking minds. People who've read the books over the show, and they're just losing their minds that it's not close enough to the books. And after seeing episode 4, I'm pretty sure they're making so many changes not to piss us off, but to try to get new people into it. Everyone knows what's going on in the books, and episode 4 was trying to explain more how the magic system works, because these things that they're doing to Logain happen to some of our female characters too. Like they get cut off from the power, they get shielded, they like stuff happens to them later. They're trying to set up so that we understand what's happening by showing it happen to Logain, because none of this was in the book. Like all the stuff with the Aes Sedai was not in the book. Moraine getting hurt in the first episode, not in the book. They had her hurt in the first episode so they could bring her to Logain's camp where the Aes Sedai were and have her healed, so they could have an episode explaining how the magic system works, or going into more detail how the magic system works and how the relationship between the warders and the Aes Sedai work. They're trying to like give you the glossary a little bit through episodes, and they're kind of like cutting out giant chunks of the story to like just explain how the world works. And so I'm hoping that season 1 is laying the foundation for how the world works, and then season 2 and 3 they can start getting closer to following the story of the books, and then they can.
I would appreciate that.
And then they can start cutting out stuff. That's how I'm guessing the season's going, because to me it's like they've changed so much, and I can understand why from a book reader's perspective. And it's a little bit disappointing that Brian, you're completely lost, because
it's the whole thing where it's like the adaptation. You know, we talked about doing an adaptation, Wheel of Time and adaptation. There's 14 Wheel of Time books, and none of them are super short. There are like a medium size book, and it's hard to.
Spring is the shortest book.
Yeah, and it's hard. I think it's hard because there's so many characters that they've already introduced, and I feel like we haven't even had a slice of the pie yet of how many characters are actually supposed to be in the show.
There are a stupid number of named characters, and at least one probably is completely cut given how the season's going.
Yeah, so it's like when you have we're just talking about episode 1, they introduced like 10 characters that were following through all the way to episode 4. It's hard to keep track of 10 characters over the course of an hour when I've never heard of these people. I don't know anything about them. I would appreciate it more if they would have made just like the first episode, just like not even with the book, and just spent time with the characters so I could understand like who they were, what their names are, what they're about. Because they just kind of throw a bunch of stuff at us, and they're like, okay, they're going on an adventure to a tower or something that I don't know what this tower has anything to do with anything. I don't really know what the goal is right now.
The White Tower is where the Aes Sedai are trained. That's where most Aes Sedai are. It's in a city called Tarvalon. And basically, they think they can protect the Dragon Reborn there, which is really ironic since the Red Sisters want nothing more to do than to still him. But what we learned in episode 4 was that the Blue Sisters are considered spies. So Moraine's a spy, and she's got like, there's a lot of like, yeah, they're one tower and they're all supposed to be sisters, but each Aja's kind of got their own agenda, and the Blue are trying to, or at least some of the Blue are trying to find the Dragon Reborn and keep him safe. So
why are they trying to keep the Dragonborn safe? Don't they want, since it seems to be a man, don't they want to like kill them because they messed up so bad the first time?
Well, the Red Sisters want to gentle him, but the thing is, like, he's the prophet. This is basically a prophecy that one's gonna stand against the Dark One. Only the dragon can, because he's the most powerful channeler, male or female, that ever existed. He is the most powerful. So, like, if you take his power away, then you've screwed yourself and the entire world. So it's like a juggling act, and they know the age is coming to an end, which is how they know the dragon's going to be reborn, which is what the Green Sister was talking about in episode 4.
Okay, I understand that a lot better now. See, like, this is what we need. We need somebody. I need somebody to explain this stuff to me.
You need to rewatch the first episode, Brian. A lot of it's given in that opening
one monologue.
That monologue from Moraine at the very beginning.
Okay.
I'm going to come at this from a slightly different angle, because I didn't watch Game of Thrones when it initially aired. I bought it on DVD, and when I opened up the DVD case, there was a family tree. It had everybody's names, it had their relations, it had everything like that. So when I sat down to watch the show, I see the people on the screen, and I go, oh, that's this person's wife, this person's husband, this person's whatever. So I was a lot more immersed than if I would have just sat down and watched it.
I'm guessing they're going to be doing something like that when they do release the Blu-rays or whatever for this, because I mean, it would only make sense to have like stuff included in to help make it easier to watch and have it be a little bit more interactive. There was supposed to be some animated shorts, and I can't find them. I was hoping they would launch.
Watching it on Amazon, so they could, Amazon owns IMDb. They could easily have the references and stuff like that, and it's like, who is this person? Click here to know more. Who is this character? Or this is what they're talking about. Click here and it'll send you to a page to explain it.
Yeah.
I would have liked a little bit more of that.
Yeah, it's just, well, I mean, by no means do I want to stop watching it. I'm going to continue watching it. It's not like I hate it. Fantasy stuff is right up my alley, is what I like. But it's just like there's a lot of characters that you gotta know. That's really my only problem with it. I'm okay with the story so far, even though I know it sounds like it's not directly from the book. But no nothing in existence is directly from a book.
But the thing is, like, even episode 4, as much as things were different, like the major beats of the show are there. It's the details that are wrong. And that's just how Game of Thrones was. I mean, Game of Thrones, if you explain the story overall, the story beats in general are the same. How you get to those story beats changed completely in the episodes to the book. But the overall idea, like what generally happens, this house battles another house at this point, at this area, like that more or less happens. It's just how all the pieces get there is completely different. It's like a game of chess, you know, like it's got the same outcome, like the red team, you know, the black team wins, but the moves are different. That's kind of how TV adaptations versus book adaptations. The end goal is the same. How it's told and how it's getting there is completely different. So I'm coming to terms with that. So I think I'm going to enjoy the show a lot more going forward now that I kind of understand so much of season 1 is probably just going to be getting new people up to speed because there's so much to know. I mean, the One Power's an extremely intricate magic system, and nothing that we've seen as far as fantasy on TV has had nearly as a robust magic system. Wheel of Time, I mean, Tolkien has very little magic. There's like 2 wizards alive in the entire Wheel of Time trilogy, or 3. I guess Radagast is technically still alive.
Well, there's 5. There's 5 wizards in Lord of the Rings,
but we only see 2 of them, and we know Radagast is there in the Hobbits. Like we don't see much wizardry in that. Like
there's not a lot of magic.
Yeah, and then in the Game of Thrones, there's like almost no magic. I mean, the Red Woman's kind of magical, but it might be like a more divine.
And none of that is explained. You know, how did they bring Jon Snow back to life? No explanation. This is
plot armor.
This is why fantasy doesn't really work for television or movies. Fantasy fans are the most aggrieved fans because nobody really takes the time or the energy to explain this stuff. And so much of fantasy is tropes, and so much of it is, how do we escape this? Magic. How do we solve this problem? Magic. How do we, it's difficult to storytell in the traditional movie or television sense with fantasy.
It is. And I think they're bending over backwards in Wheel of Time, trying to explain how magic works by inventing new things to happen before it happens to our heroes. Because you don't want to see Moraine put into a shield and be like, what the hell is this? How come she can't use the power anymore? Like they're deliberately explaining how this stuff works.
Oh, and the CG of that is excellent. I will give them a lot of credit that when they talk about weavings, I mean, it looks like
it looks cool.
Spider webs and stuff. It looks like they're actually having to make this. But and I'm going to bring up something you had a problem with your Last Jedi review, which is, if this is some unique power and it's of life and it's of the world, why does it kill them? Why is it taking so much out of them? Shouldn't it be sustaining them? Shouldn't it be helping them? And instead it's like, well, if you channel this too much, you're just going to catch fire and burn to death.
Well, and in Wheel of Time, it makes sense. I mean, you can burn yourself out by doing too much of it. But the thing is, using the powers like anything strenuous, exercise. Once you exercise a while, you can get tired. Like, using the power is like a mental and physical exercise. It will make you tired and drain you body and soul. And that's why the Green Sister at the beginning of episode 4, she's like, how come you couldn't heal this all the way? She's like, I didn't think you'd be tired. Like, I'm not tired from battle. I'm tired from shielding this guy. Because only 3 of the sisters at the camp, out of like a dozen sisters, only 3 of them were powerful enough to even do it. And just like athleticism, the sisters aren't all the same level of strength. I mean, some people can play football casually, and other people are NFL players, and there's lots of people in between, like, college athletes and, high school athletes. I mean, people who play for fun with a Nerf ball, and there's people, it's a range of athleticism in real life, and it's a range of being able to use the power. People are gifted in different ways. Like, some people are better. I mean, there's still so much of the magic they haven't even gone into that I really wish they would, because it's kind of important. But I guess they just haven't gotten to it yet. I'm hoping they deep dive into the magic even more, because there's still so much they haven't started to uncover.
Well, I mean, we're only at 4 episodes in. This is by no means we're in like the end game right now.
Oh, yeah,
we still have at least
at
at least 24 episodes before the show would stop airing.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying, like in the book, when Moraine takes Egwene aside when they're on the run, and she has the jewel out, she explains a little bit more about the powers and how the one power is made with like earth, fire, spirits. There's different kinds of elements they draw upon, and men are usually stronger in fire and earth than women are, but women are also usually better at healing, which is a spirit based power, and so on. I mean,
Sure.
When all 5 of them are combined, that's when they can call Captain Planet.
Yeah.
That's when Captain Planet joins in.
That's when they call it the Dragon Reborn.
The Dragon Reborn.
And there's a lot of neat stuff, but we're still at kind of in episode 1. Did you guys have any other questions about episode 1?
I mean, okay.
I'll give you the big one, and this is what. So of course, I'm kind of the between of you guys because I don't know this stuff, but I do research. Apparently, the big, and again, spoilers for anybody else, the big thing that they left out, according to online arguments, is that Rand Al'Dor is adopted, and Tam didn't tell him.
And there's a sequence where he's bringing Tam back to town in the books where he's having fever dreams, and he's like talking about finding a baby in the middle of the winter, like on a mountainside. That's like that lines up with the prophecy. But they also haven't told us what the prophecy is either yet in the book. Other than that, the dragon's reborn and he's coming. But that's part of the prophecy, that he'll be born on the slopes of Dragon Mount. Dragon Mount is also where the previous dragon died. He went insane and killed his family, and then one of the Dark One's minions came to him and was like, "Here, I'll let you be sane just for a minute so you can see what you did." And he realizes he killed his family, and so basically he calls down just fire from heaven and creates a mountain, and that's called Dragon Mount. That's where the dragon died in the last age, and that's where he was reborn in this age. And so the baby was found there on the slopes of Dragon Mount. That's Rand.
See, and again, I'm talking about tropes. So Moraine gets injured in that first episode, and then for the next 3 episodes, she's pretty much out of it. When the reality is, if she was awake and aware and cognizant, everybody at some point would have just been like, "Look, answer my questions, or I'm going home."
Yeah, I mean,
right?
she does. She's not hurt in the book, so she kind of answers their questions in the books. Like in episode 4, she's like, "We lost them. We can't find them." Like in the books, she gives all 3 boys a coin, and the coin lets her track them, which they completely left out. Also, one of my big issues with episode 1 is that Matt is a trickster. He is a fun-loving, trickstery boy. He's like Peregrine Took. He's a Took, basically. Like he is that character. And in the book, he's like this dark, shady asshole. And I'm like, who just has a soft spot for his sisters. And I'm like, doesn't seem like Matt. He's not funny. He's not he's not playing tricks on people. He's just angry and dark. And his dad's a lecher, which wasn't in the book either. They did him seriously wrong.
Yeah.
They did.
Well, I found a place that nerds go to argue called the internet.
What?
And did some research there and found like all these discrepancies that people are upset about. And one of the big ones was the fact that, Rand is adopted. They the age of the kids is a big deal because Moraine should be like a decade older than all of them. So she's kind of the motherly figure, and instead she's like a few years older than them.
Well, that's hard to show. You can't really. There's not much you can do about that.
The thing is that I have a problem with Aes Sedai. They should have cast them all way younger, because in the books, which is something they've already said they're leaving out, is that the Aes Sedai use of the one power gives you an ageless look. So you don't really look old, you don't really look young. But the thing is, like, they're definitely casting older women in these roles, which I guess is good because you need the acting chops to play these parts. But also, in 10 years, these women who already don't look young are going to look even older when they're supposed to be like, age doesn't touch them. That's like that's one of the perks of having the one power.
Well, there's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
I
that's
mean,
just
yeah.
that's just book to show differences.
Yeah,
You can't change that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the one thing that pissed me off in episode 1 was Perrin being married, because he does get married in the books, but not till later. And he kills his wife and unborn baby, which didn't happen in the books. This is a big issue for me. I hate it, but it is there for a reason. It's there for a very important reason. He's got a weird hang up about using an axe in the book, and it's kind of weird. It doesn't have a lot of explanation. He just he doesn't like using an axe, and he hates how it makes him feel and makes him angry and stuff like that. So them giving it to more visceral reason why he doesn't like his axe makes a lot of sense for future stuff that happens with the character and why he's got a weird PSD with his axe. I understand why they did it. I don't like it, but I understand, because it's going to make non-readers understand Perrin a little bit more. Whereas in the book, you get all his internal dialogue where he's like, I hate this, and it just makes me feel bad. And, they're giving a more obvious reason why he's got an issue wielding an axe.
I'm completely on the opposite end of you. I thought that scene was done so well. It gives me so much of, when he kills his wife, it's like, oh damn. You could see he acted so well, even in his face. You could tell he's like, damn.
I don't think it was badly done. I just hate that it was put in, because it wasn't part of the books.
Oh, okay.
I understand why it's there. And it's there for an important reason, because it makes him seem less like a bitch later on in the books. Because he just bitches about the axe so much, it's really annoying. So I understand, they gave him a visceral reason. It makes perfect sense. It just feels weird that they made him murder his wife. But I get it. It's for the audience who've never read the books, and that's fine. As long as it gets the people invested, good. Watch the show. It's good.
Well, yeah. Now, I think we've got episode 1 done. Moving on to episode 2.
The Trollocs look amazing, by the way.
Oh yeah, Trollocs look great.
I mean, the CGI and set design and everything, it looks great. I mean, there's not much to complain about. There are some CGI shots where they look a little funky, but I'll let it pass. There's one in episode 1 where Trollocs running on 4 legs that I still remember of, it felt like it was 2010 for CGI.
So level CG.
So there's some weird stuff with Wheel of Time. The smaller the screen you watch it on, the better it looks.
That's any show, though, really.
I don't know. I mean, a lot of shows, it doesn't take me out of it. Wheel of Time looks really strange to me on my TV, and I've watched it on someone else's TV. I don't know what it is, but it pulls me out a little bit. It doesn't feel like this $10 million an episode. But when I watch it on my computer monitor or my iPad, it's not nearly as jarring. I don't know what it is, but usually you want to watch things on the biggest screen possible. Like Dune, you want to watch on the biggest screen possible, because Dune was that visually arresting. I'm not saying Wheel of Time looks bad. It's got some weird spots, like you said, Brian. It's got some weird spots where it may not have been, polished completely.
Yeah, it doesn't mesh sometimes.
Yeah.
But episode 4 is definitely a $10 million episode.
Oh yeah, episode 4, absolutely. Episode
4 looks amazing.
Amazing, absolutely. But some of the parts in 1 and 2 and 3 were kind of weird looking, and even 4 looked weird looking on a big screen. On a smaller screen, it looks fine. It's really weird. I don't understand why it's jarring for me on a big screen, but it looks more cohesive on a smaller screen.
Well, I think it's just because there's more detail compacted on a smaller screen than there is on a bigger screen, so it's not as blown out. It's like even with our monitors, if we're playing a video game or something, if you're playing on a super small screen, everything's going to look a lot more detailed than if you're on a bigger one. Things aren't spread out as much.
Also, maybe it's just shot for higher definition. My TV is only 1080p. My computer monitor is 1440, and I'm pretty sure iPads stopped being 1080 a decade ago. So I mean, they're more pixels. So maybe it just looks better with more pixels. I don't know. For me, it just looks better on a smaller screen. And I watched another YouTuber guy said apparently it was color graded for OLED. So if you've got an OLED display, watch it on your OLED display, and it'll get the best looking the show can get. Apparently,
I'll have to go out and buy one.
Yeah.
He's gonna go buy an OLED.
Black Friday was yesterday. Cyber Monday is coming
up. Yeah,
up.
Cyber Monday is coming up. Perfect time for everybody to go buy an OLED and watch Wheel of Time.
Wheel of Time, absolutely. Episode 2 has my favorite moment in it.
Which moment? Does it have to do with first of all, what is the name of the castle? Or that place they go to?
Shadar Logoth.
Okay, that place is dope. I thought that place was super cool. What is the significance of that? How'd they end up there? They kind of just like left the town. They're like, okay, we're in a cursed place now.
Well, like it's not the first place to go in the books. They go to a whole other city before they even get there on the books. But my favorite scene is on the way to Shadow Logoth, where Matt starts singing that song about Manetheren, and then Moraine explains to them what the significance of Manetheren is and how that was their great-great-grandfathers, and they fought for that land that is now the Two Rivers. They fought for it with their blood. The people of Shadow Logoth are the people that promised Manetheren aid, and they basically walled up their city and didn't send anyone out to protect them or to assist them in this fight against the Shadow. So basically they all just kind of turned inward and like turned evil, like kind of like the Balrog and the Deep, you know. They just kind of like got so self-obsessed that the whole city turned evil. So it's kind of got, I mean, like the guy, I mean, Robert Jordan did say Fellowship of the Ring was kind of his inspiration for at least the first book of Wheel of Time. And so like I kind of feel that with Shadow Logoth is kind of like the Mines of Moria a little bit, like just an evil place now.
Can we talk about the horse real quick? The horse just getting like demolished, like atomized. Yeah. Like that was really cool. That looked really good too. The CGI on that was so good. It was perfect.
It was very good. Like, I mean, in the books it was described as fog, but this black creeping death was like even cooler, I thought.
Well, fog. I think fog, it will. I mean, how would you do fog? How would you even do that? You wouldn't be able to see anything.
I mean, like, it would just have like, a mist that rolls through. I mean, there was the movie The Fog and The Mist that were terrible. So, I mean, I could understand them not wanting to go with The Fog or The Mist because those were awful, awful, terrible movies. So using this black creeping death stuff, it was probably a smart move on their choice from a visual perspective. And yeah, that horse getting atomized by the stuff was pretty awesome. It's like, don't touch that.
Yeah, that was... Yeah, well, it felt like there was danger there.
That's good direction because it establishes the stakes, that it's like, hey, if you touch this is what's going to happen to you. So
yeah, they did a good job there.
I just hope that wasn't the horse Bella. Bella makes it all the way to the last battle in the books, so they better not have freaking killed her in Shadow Logoth. It must have been one of the other horses. That's all I gotta say.
You're into the horses.
Bella is a named horse. She's in the first book and she's in the last book. She makes it through the entire series and she dies in the last battle. But still, she makes it all the way to the last battle in the books.
I know that you'll be shocked by this, but I found that on a list of complaints about the show. Where was the scene with Bella? I'm just like, what are they talking about?
Bella is a very famous horse in the Wheel of Time, apparently. Yeah, I mean, they mention her, so she's there. I'm just hoping they didn't kill her at Shadow. I'm guessing it's one of the other horses.
They're not going to kill her. If it's real, it seems like this horse is a big deal. I don't think they're going to kill the horse in episode 2.
It's the one horse that has a name, right? So you can't kill the named horse.
Well, I don't think they will, but you definitely can.
I mean, they do kill the named horse in the last book, but I mean,
yeah,
she makes it to the last book. She's a hardy, good-working horse.
So, moving on a little bit, is this the episode where I don't know the name of the two characters? You're gonna have to help me out here, David. Where the man and the girl are running through like a field and wolves start chasing them. Is that episode 2 or is that episode 3? Okay,
that was episode 3, yeah.
This is what happens when you watch all the episodes back to back to back to back to back. Is this the episode with the cold opening with the people in white, where and then later in the episode they meet?
Episode 2.
Yes.
Okay. Can we talk about that for a second? Because I know we already previously spoke on it a little bit, but what are your guys' thoughts on the casting of that guy that sets the witch on fire?
it was brilliant.
I
I
mean,
mean,
the
that's how
casting-
that's how a villain monologues.
Just just casting in general.
Casting
What do you
in
guys think of the casting?
Casting in general is great. I am so mad that even though they've changed fundamentally the character of Matt from the books to the show, the actor playing Matt is phenomenal. Like,
Yeah.
he's talking to kids an awful lot, and it kind of feels creepy, but he's like a genuinely nice guy. He's genuinely trying to befriend these little kids because he's got sisters. Like, so it's like, he's a really solid actor. I love
That's Barney
Nynaeve.
Harris.
I love Nynaeve. I love the guy who plays Tom. Perrin is really good. Like, he's portraying Perrin really good. Nynaeve and Egwene are good. Lan is. They're all good. They're all really, really good. I have zero problem with the casting. Paddon Fane is awesome. I love his evil smile. I can't wait to see more of Paddon Fane. Oh, I mean, like, I think they've done a phenomenal job with the casting. My biggest complaint about the casting is, because as we discussed earlier, Rand is an outsider. He was not born in the Two Rivers, and since the Two Rivers is such a out of the way place, it's kind of odd. It's as diverse as it is. He should be the weird white guy, and everyone should be brown. But Matt's also pretty white, but everyone else is kind of brown. I just wish they were like, whatever nationality they picked, that they were one thing, and then Rand stood out like a sore thumb, because he's supposed to.
Well,
and it's like a weird melting pot in this tiny, tiny little village, which like doesn't make sense from like a genetic standpoint.
you're kind of in luck because Joshua Stradowski is the actor that plays Rand al'Thor.
Uh-huh.
He's from Denmark.
Hmm.
He's not an American, so English is not his primary language. That was also something that people complained about, is with that bright red hair, he should stick out like a sore thumb, and he doesn't.
Well, the town is too diverse. It's not as diverse as it should be. I mean, he is the only person with red hair until we see the Aiel that was dead in the cage in episode 3. Because Rand is an Aelman.
Makes sense then.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the casting's good then.
The casting is good. Everyone is phenomenal.
Yeah, I think it's really good.
I don't think anyone has done a bad job acting.
Oh yeah, I agree
Rosamund
too. I haven't
Pike
been.
was
Yeah,
on,
100%.
She fought Holly Berry in, was it Die Another Day? So
Who fought Halle Berry?
Rosamund Pike.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she did. She did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
She did. Now, is this the episode where Moraine she's stabbed, she's on a horse,
Mhm.
and they run into the people in white? Is that episode 2?
Yes.
Yes.
So the people in white want to stop Moraine from existing, right? So she had to do some mental gymnastic things going on.
They took her ring. Lan took her ring to make sure they didn't see it and they wouldn't find it on the horses.
Yeah. I thought that was actually a really cool scene, because when after the scene's done, she lies, but she doesn't lie. She's like, I can heal other people, but I can't heal myself. So technically it wasn't a lie. I thought that was really cool.
Well, and all Aes Sedai are my sisters. I mean, that's how they describe.
Oh
them.
yeah, that too.
Yeah, so
I thought that was. I got more respect for her when she did that. I was like, damn, okay, you get it.
Well, they're also trying to teach you about the Aes Sedai. Just because they say something and they can't lie doesn't mean it's not actually true. It may not be the truth you think it is.
Yeah, it's not
Because
the truth you're looking
she
for.
cannot lie, but like she can. There's a lot of
twist it.
There's a lot of wiggle room, and still telling the truth. Apparently.
Yeah, you gotta be very clear with these people. They gotta be very clear.
It's like a monkey's paw. It's like
she can't lie until she does.
Yeah.
Exactly. Those are the two things that really stuck out.
Whenever they asked her where the wound from, she's like, she was trying to like lie. You saw it in her face. She was trying to lie, and then she's like, "You wouldn't believe me."
You wouldn't believe me if I told you.
I have a hard time believing that Inquisitor just bought it all hook, line, and sinker. I have a hard time believing that. He had to have known. He had to have.
Well, that remains to be seen.
Well,
we're on that episode 4.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's like, I'll remember your faces. So I mean, like, I think he does have an inkling, but since they said he'd be quick, he didn't have enough
He'll be very thorough.
And like they introduced the White Cloaks in the book early on, but Moraine doesn't see them. It's Rand and Matt who see them, and they see them in a city. And Matt literally is an asshole. He goes up into the second story of a building and like uses his slingshot to like knock some barrels loose and splash them with mud because that's the kind of trickster he is. And like we don't get any of that in the books. I mean, in the show.
Are they the way they are, the religious way they are? They seem like they're like, we need to be pristine. We need to be very clean. No dirt on our clothes.
Yeah.
We need, if you get dirt on your clothes, we got to change or clean. Is that the way they are? It seems like that's the way they are.
They're total fanatics. Like walking in the light. The light is like God.
Sure.
Yeah, and then the dark one is like the devil or like the anti-god or whatever. So walking in the light is like walking in, but they're fanatics. They think the one power is part of the dark one.
They have a lot of bleach with them everywhere they go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everywhere they go, they got a lot of bleach. They need it.
They drink a little bit, put on their assholes. It's
that's what you're supposed to do with it for sure.
Real good.
Bleach cleans everything.
Absolutely.
So are we moving on to episode 3 then? Because I want to talk about these wolves.
These wolves, yeah.
Yeah, these wolves. What is the significant with the wolves? The wolves like kind of show up, but then they like don't really do anything. They're like, oh, the wolves guided us. Like, is that a thing wolves do? Like, I thought if they're just normal wolves, and this is just like our planet that we're living in right now, wolves don't got any type of powers.
Yeah, it seems like Perrin has some kind of like relationship with them.
Yes. There's a character they completely cut from the show. I'm guessing they might introduce him later. I don't know, but there's a character named Elias. Elias doesn't like people because they think he's a dark friend because his eyes are yellow. He basically can communicate with wolves, and so he basically just lives in the outskirts. And he finds Perrin and Egwene before they find the Tinkers. Actually, he introduces them to the Tinkers in the book, and he is like, "Hey, the wolves know you're like me, so you can talk to the wolves," and he can sense the wolves. And like eventually he learns how to do wolf dreams. Like dreams in Wheel of Time are also a big thing. Like every time they have a dream, it's kind of actually happening. It's not really
when the guy throws up a bat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of really
was that practical? It looked like that was practical. Did this dude like put like a prop bat in his mouth and like throw it up?
He deep throated a prop rat. Absolutely. I don't know. I didn't read about how they did the effect, but
DP with faces always looks really good. I mean, look at the Gus Fring there in Breaking Bad when he gets blown up. I mean, it always looks good.
Yeah. They did a really, really great job.
The dreams are really cool. The dreams that who is this thing in the dreams here? Is that like Voldemort? What's going on here? The guy with the eyes and the mouth?
That is I believe his name is Zamon. Zamon, I believe, is one of the Forsaken. It's been a while, but it's one of my pet peeves what they're doing with the show. They're using him for jump scares. All he does is go, rah.
Yeah, they are using
really,
him for jump scares.
really freaking generic. I hate how generic it's a non-jump scare jump scare. It's like it doesn't ever bother me. It's like, okay. He's there in the dreams, he's menacing in the dreams, and he's
Freddy Krueger.
He actually talks to them in the dreams in the books. Like he's just there for jump scares, and I'm like, why doesn't he talk to them? He's supposed to like freaking taunt them. He's also trying to figure out which one of them is the Dragon Reborn.
They're all trying to figure out the Dragon Reborn.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, if the Dark One can take him and make him his own, then the Dragon Reborn won't fight against the Dark One, and he'll like have the ace in his pocket. Or if they kill him, that's also as good. But if they could turn him, that'd be even more devastating to people who are on the side of the light.
So where on the level of bad guys is this one?
So he's one of the ones you got to look out for. So there's the Dark One, and the Dark One has his.
He's the ultimate. Yeah, the Dark One's like the big bad.
The Dark One is like basically anti-god or like
sure,
or devil or whatever. He's like the giant deity thing.
He's the Voldemort.
That is like the source. No, Voldemort's just a dude. No, this is like the source of evil in the world.
Well, I'm saying like he's the ultimate evil guy.
He's the ultimate evil guy. Yes, he is. Like, he's more like a thing, an idea. Like he is like a god-ish type figure that the creator god of the Wheel of Time universe locked away upon creation.
Okay, I understand that now.
So yeah, it's like it's bigger than just Voldemort. Like he has like 13 or 14 Forsaken. It might be 12. I don't remember the number. It's been a long time. And like Rand kills like a Forsaken a book for like for a while. So there's like, I think there's like 12. It's like kind of like biblical. I think there's like 12. So Jesus has 12 disciples. The Dark One has like 12 or like 13 people that are they basically live. Dark One keeps them alive, and they can all use the one power. So they're all like super powerful big bad guys, and they're known as the Forsaken.
Interesting.
So,
Okay.
Zamon is one of the Forsaken, and he's been alive for thousands of years, and so it's pretty. He's a big bad. So there's gonna be like big bads like that throughout the books, and like I said, they're like the anti-disciples. So like there's a bunch of them.
We've all played enough video games to know where this is going.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is set up on tropes, but like there's so little good fantasy TV or movies.
Well, I mean, that tropes aren't always a bad thing.
Yeah.
Tropes is a good way. Even like we just talked about when they get axed, when his wife gets axed, that's a trope. That's called fridging. But like it's still, I'm fine with it. It was like, their tropes can be cool. They're fine sometimes. Most of the time they're not, but like there's good ones.
They can be done. It depends on how you do
them.
It's
how you do them.
It's still on the execution.
Yeah, it's on the execution for sure. Now, are we moving on to the circus people? Can we move on to the circus people?
What about the Tinkers?
The main lady. The main Tinker's lady.
Yeah.
She's got like a staff.
Mm-hmm.
Does that staff have sword in it? Because it looks dope. It looks like there's a sword or something in there.
No, they do not. They do not have weapons or violence.
Yeah, but doesn't it kind of look like she can take like her cane has like a, it kind of looks like a sheath.
You mean how Gandalf had his pipe stuck into the top of his staff?
Yes, it looks like that. It looks like that. I want one.
These are the gypsy Amish.
Yeah, they're the gypsy Amish.
The gypsy Amish Jonestown people.
Yes.
They're a nice little combo of all three of them.
What did you think of episode 3, David? Because you said episode 1 and 4 were kind of for bringing in new fans. So was episode 3 more for the I've read the books type of thing going on?
I know, because episode 2 had the Manetheren thing. Like, I like it when the show actually kind of slows down and they get into the lore. Like when Matt sings the song in episode 2, that is fantastic. I rewinded that part like 16 times. I just listened to the song and listened to Brain talk about Manetheren because it's great world building and it's stuff that it didn't happen exactly that way in the book, but Moraine did explain what Manetheren was and its importance and their past to them. Like, it's just so great because Robert Jordan was also like big into history and a historian. So he like built tons of history into the backstory of like these books. And it's really great and really rich. And it was nice to have them kind of stop and like talk about that. And apparently Amazon wanted it axed. And the showrunner was like, no, this has to be there. And I'm glad he was able to keep that scene because it's probably my favorite scene of the show so far. Just Matt and the group singing a cappella. It's a beautiful sounding song, and then Moraine explains the significance of the song. Absolutely beautiful. Loved it.
This is one of the biggest complaints that everybody has with movies is the exposition dump. The parlor scene where everybody sits down and somebody explains everything. In movies and television, they say show, don't tell. But in books are just exposition dumps. Yeah. Think about the opening scene of Lord of the Rings. You've got all the armies there. They're fighting Sauron's forces. They get the ring. What if somebody would have just said, yeah, this is how this ring came to be and whatever? No, but they showed it. And that's what they did with that singing scene. And that's why we're not seeing a lot of this stuff explained, is that they're doing the show, not tell, but you can't tell all of it. You know what I'm saying? You can't show everything from the past. They're not doing a lot of flashbacks and whatever like that.
Yeah. It's really well done. I absolutely love that scene. It is my favorite scene in the show so far because it's such a beautiful piece of world building. It's exposition, but it's exposition in a way that makes sense. They sang a song that's a folk song to them. It's like an old song. They don't even know what it means. And she's explaining the meaning of the song. It's great. It's like song nerds talking. Music
The other
nerds.
thing is that it's
Song
funny
nerds.
because it breaks the tension, and then when she explains it, it puts that tension right back.
And then they wake up in Shadow Logoth. I'm like, yeah, this is bad.
Yeah, no, and again, that's great. That's how you do fantasy to television.
Yeah.
And so many other shows botch that terribly.
It was beautifully done. I absolutely great. Episode 3, like I like Tom. I like the guy that got to play Tom. I don't know if he can sing or not, or if he was just singing bad on her. I don't know. I just was hoping he could be a little bit more like better of a singer, but his performance otherwise is awesome. I absolutely love him, especially in episode 4 when he's talking about Owen to Rand and about how his nephew became mad and killed himself after he was gentled. Like, he is an amazing actor. I love him.
What does gentled mean? You've used that twice. Does that mean just kind of like take their powers away? Like, what is that?
That's what happens to Logain at the end of episode 4.
Yeah, they cut off their powers.
So they're getting rid of the gentle is getting rid of the powers.
Gentle, yeah. So yeah, men and women can be gentled. Like sometimes they'll gentle a woman.
Okay.
If she's gone rogue or
And honestly, I wouldn't have known any of this if David hadn't have told it to me. That's part of why I kind of got that. But if you hadn't have mentioned that before, I would have been so lost. Now,
Sure.
in Dragon Age, they have the same thing, by the way. They call, I forgot what they call it, but it's the same thing where if a mage can't control their powers, they cut them off. So.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like another trope, but like it's just another way of doing it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the barkeep woman.
Oh, she was great. She was the most likable character the entire show until you find out she's an asshole. I loved her. Her performance.
I thought she was pretty cool.
Her performance was absolutely amazing. I absolutely could not. I wish they didn't have to kill her in that first episode she was in. God, she was.
She died like pretty quick. Also,
honestly,
can we the way they die? There's a lot of ways that characters die already that have been like super brutal. Like the knife through the back of her neck. You can see it like poke out the front. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was honestly waiting for Tom to start singing "Toss a Coin to Your Witcher."
Toss a coin to your Witcher.
No,
that was a good scene.
He was singing a song about the past Dragon Reborn, the previous dragon.
The previous one.
Skyrim, I understand.
Yeah. He's great. In the books, he was there at the very beginning. He was brought into the holiday to tell them the things. A lot of people say they were glad that they didn't introduce him later, except that in the very next episode, he immediately leaves them to protect them from the Fade. I really wish they would have introduced him earlier, so he's not introduced one episode and then out the next episode. I mean,
they got to fit all this in 8 episodes.
Yeah,
Again, it was the same thing with Game of Thrones in the later seasons. Well, we're cutting down from 10 to 8 to 6 episodes, so let's squeeze everything in.
So, since episode 4 was more for bringing in new fans, when we get to the end of episode 3, where are we in the books? How far are we into the book?
Well, at the end, I've been listening to the audiobook in preparation for this as well. So like we were like, they're technically just at the halfway point. Like 17 hours into the reading the book, listening to it. It's a long audiobook. But the thing is, so much of it's cut out and different. It's hard to exactly tell where they are. So the show might actually be further along because they're cutting so much stuff out and adding stuff that didn't happen for the sake of people. So we're at the end of episode 4. We're kind of at the halfway point, but it's
of the first book.
It's hard to tell. It honestly is, because like the part where all the stuff that happened with Rand, Matt, and Tom, this happened in a city. It didn't happen in some random farmer's barn and house and family murder. That didn't happen. They were in a town when this stuff with the Fate happened, and then they run away, and Tom basically protects them for the sake of keeping them alive. So like I said earlier, it's like the important beats happen the way they're supposed to. Like Fade shows up, Tom tells them to run, he fights the Fade by himself. That happened, but it happened in a completely different way in the book versus the show. So I mean, like, they are hitting the right beats, just it's completely different how it happens. And what I was mentioning earlier, since we're talking about this, that the house, the child gives Matt a Brigitte doll. That is a deep cut for later. She's a mythical hero, and she actually shows up in should be the next season.
So they're prepping us. They're getting us ready.
Yeah,
they're oiling us up.
They missed out on some merchandising there.
I want my Brigitte Silverbow doll.
Gonna go get one.
Funko Pop.
Oh no, not a Funko Pop.
Yeah, it's good. Like, I love all the stuff with Matt, Tom, and Rand. The dagger from Shadow Logoth is really messing Matt up. Is like, I can see you.
So, moving on to the 4th episode. This is for all the episodes. Number 4 is, I think, my favorite so far. I don't know about you two, but I think episode 4 is my favorite. I feel like this is where we're starting to like ramp up. The show is starting to find its footing. Things are starting to happen. Things are starting to move.
The stakes are in place now.
Yeah, the stakes are now in place. Yeah. Is that are you two around the same page where I am? Like, episode 4 is kind of like this is starting to get good.
Yeah, I mean, episode 4 was probably my favorite overall episode, even though all the changes. Yeah. I mean, they're definitely establishing the rules for the magic. And there's so much more they have to establish, but they did a lot of stuff. They did shielding, they did chaining, the power. They did multiple people using the power to keep someone shielded, which even has to happen on women sometimes, depending on the strength of the woman. You have to have multiple women shield a woman. So they're doing lots of lore building. They're explaining how the warders work, how they feel when their Aes Sedai dies, or it'll be opposite too. Aes Sedai can feel if their warder dies. A battle scene with the battle Aja. That was great. That was beautiful. Like, and it was like a simple effect. It was probably some simple pyrotechnics, but the little bit of CG added some nice flair to it, and it looked absolutely stunning.
Yeah, the CG doesn't go like overboard, but it shows you just enough where it feels like, this might be real. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like they're showing like an Iron Man suit flying around doing a million things.
They're doing like a good mix of practical with CG, and
a lot of the Trollocs are practical. Yeah, it looks like they're practical. At least I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, they are.
The center of attention is always a real person doing real things, and they have CG effects around them. I always use the example of the first Matrix movie where the big bullet dodging scenes, the actors are the only thing in those scenes that are real, and you don't notice. Whereas you get into like the second and third movies where you've got this really bad special effect as the center, and they've not withstood the test of time.
Yeah. Well, same thing with the Blade movies. The first Blade movie was all practical effects, and then Blade 2 and 3 was all CG and looked awful. Awful. But yeah, episode 4, that's where I started forming my theory that season 1 is going to be explaining how the world works to new people. So they're going to hit the story beats they can, but they're going to be cutting a lot of it, and they have cut a ton of it. And I'm hoping they can get closer once they've done the world building in season 1. Like I said, I really hope they start sticking closer to the story, because I mean, the story's good, and that's why I'm here. I want to see the story of Wheel of Time, but I also understand that they've got to explain the world to new people who have not read the book. So I understand them doing all the stuff with the magic in this first episode. And I thought it was pretty effective. The only thing I thought looked kind of dumb was them like switching their arms over each other to do the link. I thought it looked cool because the weaves made like a link, like a chain. It looked cool, but that looks super impractical to cross your arms. So it's like I'm sold on it and also not sold on that at the same time. I'm like, oh, it's cool, but it's like it's kind of feels like impractical to hold yourself that way.
Well, it is what it is. There's not much you can do about that. Yeah, they probably just were on set and they're like, okay, cross your arms.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. I mean, it was cool. Like, I was hoping the magic would be a little bit more like Doctor Strange, a little bit more hand movement instead of just a single motion. But I mean, I understand they probably don't want to copy Doctor Strange either. So,
well, I mean, that could have just been the creative. They might have not even been thinking about Doctor Strange. They're just like, this is the way we'll do it.
that could get really silly really quick.
Oh, there's that too. You don't want like 15 women on screen all like going crazy with their arm movements.
Yeah.
They could get kind of weird looking.
It could get crazy. I mean, they're definitely going conservative with it, which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
They might get more crazy as they go on. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. I mean, the powers get crazy too. I mean, we haven't even started to see what the one power can do. We're just starting to scratch the surface. I mean, they stuffed, weaves of air in his ear to keep him from hearing what's going on. Like, that was cool. That's the thing they do in the books a lot. The fact that they mentioned it. Moraine mentioned that you can't see a male's weaves. They're separate. They're separate parts of the power, so you can't see them. And
that was actually, that's one of those little notes that like people need to kind of, you're not really necessarily going to appreciate it at the time. So that's good world building right there.
Yeah, they're doing the world building really good. And as someone who's read the books, I'm like, okay, I see that. Good. You're mentioning that. Good. You're hitting check marks on how the magic system works. So I'm like, good on you. I definitely recommend Brian watching them a couple more times, because I watched all the episodes 3 times, except for the 4th episode, and I saw it twice. I was like,
oh man, you've watched all of them 3 times?
All of them 3 times. And listening to the audiobook. I've been trying to do my homework. I'm trying to get as immersed in this Eye of the World book as possible. I've been listening to other YouTubers talk about it, getting their thoughts, who have, also refreshed on reading the books. I'm super trying to...
You're on board. You're on board.
All my bases, yeah. I'm trying to cover...
Well, I mean, it's everything that I've said so far today. Regardless, I'm looking forward to Friday to watch episode 5. It's not like, I got a dread to watch episode 5. I'm looking forward to it. I want to watch it. It's because I do like it. I like it to a certain point. I just wish I understood, but you have helped me a lot understanding what's going on now. So I feel a lot better about this show. So now I'm more optimistic about it.
Well, off air, let's talk about episodes 1 through 4 more. So I can help you get up to speed so you can enjoy it more. But I think a lot of it is you just need to watch the episodes again and watch it with the subtitles on, because I watched them on my third and on the second viewing of the 4th episode. I watched with the subtitles on. Like, I didn't understand what the kid said when she gave him the doll, but I saw Brigitte. She said it was the Brigitte doll. I'm like, Brigitte, that's like an important character later on. That's cool.
That's an Overwatch character.
No, it's a... No, Blizzard, no!
I will definitely say I'll definitely keep watching it, but a lot of it is that it's already on Amazon Prime. That, like, if it was like Paramount Plus, where they're saying, hey, you've got to, get our app and pay the subscription to watch Discovery or Picard, I would not be watching it. But the fact that it is on Amazon Prime, I'm in it for the long haul. I'll keep watching this for sure.
I can't wait. And I'm so glad they've renewed for 3rd season, because like the Dragon Reborn is like when we for sure know who the Dragon Reborn is. And they're definitely trying hard to make you keep guessing in the show, because I mean, like, Nynaeve's demonstration at the end of episode 4 is almost got me going, oh no, they're gonna make her the Dragon Reborn now.
Can we just give props to Brandon Sanderson for the amount of work that he's doing? Not only is he the lead screenwriter for this show, he's already published 2 books this year on his own. That man writes so much. It's insane how much he writes.
Yeah,
he's so efficient, and he admitted that the first season of this, he was new to screenwriting, so he feels like this is not going to be his best work for this first season, which I guess is understandable if you've never screenwritten before. So he's hoping that season 2 is going to be even better with his skill to be able to screenwrite. But I just want to give props to him, because man, that dude writes so much, and a lot of it's good.
So he's the Stephen King of fantasy.
He has a lot of contributors, though. Like the last book I read, The Rhythm of War, I mean, he had 35 something, credits to, combat advisors, technical.
Oh, yeah.
Like that. So it's not like he's organic.
No, he's not doing it by himself. No, he's not doing it by himself. And he's not doing it by himself in the Wheel of Time either. But just the fact that he's involved in all these little different spots. Yeah, he's able to like keep them somewhat coherent, because I mean, the stuff he has going on personally for his stuff is way different than what he has from the Wheel of Time.
So what are your guys' thoughts on episode 4?
It was the best episode. It was the best episode so far, for sure.
And again, it sets the stakes that even if you do find out you're the Dragon Reborn, they might just take your power away.
Well, then also Owen, like hearing it happen from a friend or an uncle of someone who had it happen to them, like that's also helping set the stakes. I also love how Nineveh was hanging out with the warders, and so Reds almost never take a warder. Blues will take a max one warder. They may or may not take a warder. Greens, because they're the battle aja, they're the ones who like go into battle. They always usually take more than one warder, and they definitely sleep with them. And you could definitely tell that those two guys are like, because the thing is, when you're bonded as a warder, and if they're also bonded to someone else, you could all feel each other's feelings and emotions and everything. So I mean, like, if you're a green sister sleeping with one of your warders, the other warder knows about it. So I mean, they probably all orgy or three-way or however many of them are bound. Like it's just they all kind of, I mean, they definitely kind of showed like they're kind of polyamorous, that threesome. So I mean, like it's kind of cool, and like that everyone was kind of like, everyone was kind of chill with it except for Nynaeve, and Nynaeve was like, they don't, do they? And the guy was just like, yeah they do. Oh man.
Well, I think we're towards the end of
Nynaeve at the end. What'd you guys think of that?
I think again, I mean, you could tell, and again, this is something I read ahead, was that this happened for her, and she had her thoughts that this is something that was available to her, but it's just not the life that she chose for herself. So I'm kind of curious to see where that goes, because I'm sure they're going to want her in the Aes Sedai, but I can kind of tell there's a lot of reluctance there.
Well, and the thing is, well, the show didn't do a super good job of showing it, but in the books for a long time, she could only channel the one power when she's angry.
Interesting.
Yeah, so she's an angry channeler, which this will take us back to episode 1, but I'm sorry. Her pushing Egwene into the river was a metaphor for how to use the one power. So the fact that she's trying to teach Egwene, you got to let yourself surrender. You got to surrender to the river, which is exactly what Moraine says the one power is like. You got to surrender to it. The fact that she's teaching Egwene this kind of before they even know they can touch the power, and the fact that just a little bit bothers me that they're doing this alliteration, and the fact that she definitely has an issue with channeling because of her anger and not surrendering and not letting go, which is like, it's her character, but it just bothers me they added the part where she's trying to teach Egwene about surrendering to the actual real river.
That's something else to bring up too, is that she's in the very first scene of this show, and yet we haven't mentioned her at all. They have given her nothing to do so far.
Egwene?
Nothing. Egwene, yeah. I mean, she really hasn't, I mean, she's just kind of along for the ride at this point.
Egwene has a very big journey. Like,
and that's what I'll say about that.
so much stuff happens to her. Like, I think Nynaeve is the most powerful Aes Sedai of this age, but I think Egwene's a close second, like really close. Like Egwene gets crazy powerful. Nynaeve discovers new ways of healing. Or, I mean, which we kind of saw. She did a group heal.
Yeah,
and
group heal.
And they did establish earlier in the episode that the men can't see the women's weaves and the women can't see the men's weaves. Logain saw, according to one of the people working on the show, a shockwave. Like basically, after she used the power, it left a shockwave, and that's what he saw. He didn't see the weaves. He saw whatever after effect of the power happened, which isn't super clear in the show, but I was looking on Twitter and stuff. There's someone who is a book reader is doing advice on the show, and I follow her Twitter account, and she said it was a shockwave. I mean, sure, it's not easily distinguishable because you just see her channeling, and she's like going Super Saiyan. Literally, her hair is rising and stuff. Like
she's like going slow motion.
she's literally going Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
And it explodes. I mean, since these physical changes are happening to her, he probably saw that. He didn't see the weaves, I guess. He just saw what was happening to her. And because she doesn't have any control of the power, she could risk burning herself out. So that's why they need to train her. But she's really angry doesn't like listening. But the Ice and I make her angry, so it's probably not that hard to make her channel since she's always around people that make her angry. So
that's probably why
Works
they try to recruit them as young as they can, to kind of breed out that rebellious streak.
Like the Jedi, too old to begin the training. She's not 6.
You are too old.
Too old to begin the training. No,
that's where they got it from.
They don't do that BS here in Wheel of Time. They'll train them whenever they can, but sometimes, like if their power isn't great enough, they don't even bother training because they're too weak to even burn themselves out. But someone with the power of Nynaeve definitely needs training because she's basically a Super Saiyan. She's cool.
Super Saiyan. She's cool. I like her. I like her.
Just her look, her acting, everything. Like everyone they've cast so far has been absolutely excellent. I cannot say enough good things about the casting and the people, and yeah, I'm definitely excited. Like I was a little more trepidatious feeling after episode 3, but after seeing episode 4, and now that I kind of have a clear vision of what they're doing with the season, I'm like, okay, it makes sense. It's fine. And for people who are complaining, stop complaining.
Please, I want this to succeed.
No.
I need it to succeed.
Go, if you're complaining about this show, go read Wheel of Time and then watch. I mean, no. Go read Game of Thrones and go watch Game of Thrones. They will not line up as.
Oh, the books don't line up at all.
They don't line up at all.
The Lord of the Rings movies. How many people?
Tom Bombadil.
Oh yeah, he's not. He's gonna be in the TV show. He's gonna. They cast him for the TV show.
Oh boy, yeah.
It's just that you can never have a 1-to-1 comparison. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you do.
There was tons of outrage about Tom Bombadil not being in the Wheel of Time movies.
Yeah, I mean, even Harry Potter. The Harry Potter books also have a lot of scenes that are in the books that just aren't in the movies. It's just the way it is.
It's just
nature of the beast.
It's just how it is. Just accept this. Yeah, for me, yeah. I mean, the first episode wasn't what I was expecting out of Wheel of Time. I wanted a lot more of the lore and the backstory and the stuff with Tam, but they're trying. So, in the book, it's definitely kind of set up that Rand's the main character, so you kind of know Rand's going to be the Dragon Reborn in the book because it focuses so much on Rand. And I've read stuff from the showrunners. They're trying to spread that out a little bit. Give Perrin more backstory, making him kill his wife. Giving Matt this weird past where his parents are terrible and he's trying to like get out of his parents' shadow. Like they're giving them a little bit more to do because Matt, for book readers, is notorious for not having a lot to do till later the series. So they're trying to give him more. I mean, he does find the dagger in Shadar Logoth in the book, and that it becomes a thing later because I mean he's definitely kind of like borderline evil. It's like questionable if he killed the people or the Fade killed the people in the house because like when he's under the influence of the dagger, he is kind of like not himself. But I'm pretty sure the Fade did it.
Yeah, the Fade did it. I mean, it all, as far as I'm concerned, only puts that doubt in for like a second.
Yeah. The one thing I really wish they would have done with the Fade in that scene is in the books they say if a Fade turns sideways, you can't see him, like he turns invisible. So just when he's in that light and you see his face, I wish they showed him like turning toward them. That would have been great, just turning visible when he's turning toward them. That would have been a nice little nod to the book. Because I mean he was basically invisible, then became visible. So I mean it would have been nice if they had like the transitionary thing. That would have been kind of a nice little fun nod. But that was a cool scene.
I don't know. I've tried that when I'm arguing with my wife. It doesn't work. It doesn't.
Turning invisible, like you're not a Fade though, and not quite. You don't have the dentures for it.
A little bit more training, you'll be okay.
We have the same haircut.
You do, but you have 2 more eyes than he has.
Yeah, you win some, you lose some,
because they are the eyeless. You're also slightly more tan than he is.
Slightly. I'm
you are not the correct shade.
You're not the correct shade to be an eyeless.
But no, I like the show. I'm definitely in for it. I think after episode 4, I might be able to kind of recommend it, but I'm still waiting for like that. Oh wow, the sword fight with Arthur Dane, or the first episode of The Shield or something like that. That big shock moment to bring people in.
I mean, so far the biggest oh shit moment is the Nynaeve healing everyone at the same time. That was kind of cool.
That is the biggest moment so far.
That's the closest the show's gotten to like that oh crap moment. So
I'm just really looking forward to episodes 7 and 8, where the Amazon people are like, "All right, 3 seasons. We're done. We're doing it. 3 seasons now."
Yeah. So yeah, I can't wait to see how they're gonna do it. I really hope that Zamon talks at some point. It'd be nice.
He might. It might. Is it a it? He? A she? It?
It's a he.
He?
Balsamon is a he, and I mean, he looks how he's described in the book. He's got like fires and mouth full of ember. Like you see his like kind of face like on some of the sides of the books. Like he's kind of like manifesting like the Dark One, maybe like if the Dark One had a body or whatever. Because Rand thinks he kills the Dark One at the end of the book or whatever. So I don't know how that's going to translate to the screen. So much has changed. So I'm not sure what they're going to do with it, but I'm with you. I'm with you, Brian. I can't wait for the next episode. I'm pumped. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it.
And I've got to watch all the episodes again.
Again? Oh my gosh!
I gotta get those numbers up. Gotta pump those numbers up.
Pump the numbers.
I want this show to do well. I want all 15 seasons. I want the spin-off show about Tom before he was,
Okay. I mean, I don't want to. I don't think you're gonna get 15 seasons. I don't think the show's going to be on for 15 years. Probably more.
That, but look at Supernatural.
I want Brian Sanderson.
Well, how long does it go before Brandon Sanderson will drop as soon as he starts making his own TV show?
I want Brian Sanderson to come and write the sequel series to the Wheel of Time. Give me more. Like there's the way it ends. The way it ends. I want more in the books, and I'm like, come back, Brian.
Well, that's an interesting thought. Brad, what do you think Brandon Sanderson will do if this show continues to go on? He's also working on his own shows. He's working on making the Mistborn trilogy, and he's working on Stormlight.
I would say because here's the thing. Part of it is in the business. You kind of have to have your proteges. You kind of have to have somebody to follow up on that. So it's one of those things where, just like Brandon Sanderson came in and took over for Robert Jordan, I think he'll probably say, "Hey, this is my go-to guy. He's going to come in and finish this."
And take care of that.
George R.R. Martin has also done that, where he, over the years, like for example, his Wild Card series of books, George R.R. Martin is only the editor on that. So his name is plastered all over it, but he didn't write the book. He came up with the concept and fostered other writers to take that over. So it's the same type of thing where. Yeah. You need to foster some other people and support them, and who knows? I mean, maybe that's how you end up with, kind of like The Walking Dead took a long time to get Greg Nicotero.
Yeah, I guess that's probably what's going to happen then. But maybe by season 3 of Wheel of Time, Brandon Sanderson might depart for his own stuff.
But you said Brian Sanderson writes so much in a year, so he'll just keep doing everything. What do you?
He's going to continue to write?
Are you trying to limit Brandon Sanderson?
Hey man, if he can prove me wrong, I say go for it. But I don't know. That's a pretty full plate.
Yeah, being the writer is tough because you never know when they start filming a scene and they go, "This isn't working. Go rewrite the scene." And that happens all the time to writers on movies and TV shows. Frank Miller talked about that when he did RoboCop 2, where they were like, "Oh, this scene isn't working, rewrite it." Okay, well, the way you wrote it still isn't working, so go rewrite it. So nobody's going to want to do that forever.
Sure. I mean, it makes perfect sense. We'll just have to see what happens. I mean, there's a lot of that. We always get into the what ifs, what's going to happen, what we think is going to happen, and we'll just have to wait and find out, I guess.
Well, I mean, like I know it generally happens, which more or less will happen, I guess.
Well, no, I'm talking about in terms of how many seasons there's going to be, or like what details are going to be put in and taken out. Who's going to start directing the show? Like things will change.
Yeah, I mean,
as time goes on.
I hope they can get the full run of the show going, because if it stops, I don't think it'll ever be able to start up again.
I think it's going to be hard to do the entire series. Has there ever been a series that's this long that's still on? Is Supernatural based on books, or is it based on?
It's just original idea, and they had 14 seasons.
It was only supposed to be 5, and then they just had to then they did 10 seasons of filler because they was like, oh, I guess we can't end the world yet because it's too popular. It's like one of the only shows that got more popular as the longer
as time went on.
It's bizarre. Its
Yeah.
viewership kept going up and up and up and up. So yeah.
I mean, that'd be cool if it goes on for 15 years, but I mean, that's a hard thing to get to.
It depends.
Well, they could also just do like some movies later on. They could say, "Hey, this is kind of like they did with El Camino for Breaking Bad."
Yeah, they might do that as well. Who knows? Who knows?
I mean, maybe because some of the later books could be abridged a lot. The first books are definitely more important to keep more of the story there.
Well, yeah,
but the later some like the mid books are kind of like filler. So
maybe they won't even do those ones.
I mean, they could cut stuff out and rearrange parts of the story, which would be fine.
And we're about to get another Game of Thrones series that nobody wants.
Not after how the last season ended.
No one,
or
I don't know anyone that's looking forward to it. No one.
Nope.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even. There's crickets there. I don't even know what to say about the next Game of Thrones. I don't care.
That's about it.
I will see. I don't even know if I'll watch it. We'll see when we get there.
Yeah, if there's nothing else on, maybe, who knows? I mean, I am pumped for this. I am pumped for the Fallout series, the Mass Effect series, the next season of The Boys. Amazon's got stuff on lock for geekdom. I mean, there's only one more season of The Expanse left. But
they're just starting up. They're still relatively new, Amazon. They've been around, but in terms of creating TV shows, they're kind of still new to it. They've only been doing it for 2-3 years. They've been starting to make stuff rather than just taking movies and telling you can rent them.
It's been so good though.
Yeah, they're doing a good job.
This is the funny part is that you guys talk. I know, David, you love The Boys. We are on the total opposite ends of the spectrum because I've read The Boys, every single book, multiple times. So it's I watch the show and I'm like, there's so much wrong with this. They cut out all this, they cut out all that, because I know everything about it.
Well, that's
and
the
I
thing.
Can't enjoy the show because of it.
Well, that's the thing with a lot of people. The people who are hating on Wheel of Time, they can't accept.
Well, yeah. Once you read the source material, nothing will match it.
They can't accept. I've never read The Boys, but I've only watched the show, and I absolutely enjoy the show. And I have read the Wheel of Time, and I'm just trying to accept the show for what it is. I mean, I if there's a giant egregious change, I'll bring it up like I have, and then I'll also justify. I'll try to justify it if I think there's a good reason. Most of the changes they've made in the show are for good reason. I think they're trying to fill in the gaps that happen later, giving parents some real PTSD instead of some imaginary, oh, I hate X's PTSD. He's got a real reason to not like his ex. They're explaining the magic system. It makes sense. I understand what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to take time. It's just going to take time to get everybody up to speed. Obviously, there's always going to be people on both sides of it, and this is no different. Definitely, this has helped me bring me over to the when's the next episode coming out rather than the I'm only watching it so I can podcast on it type of thing. But I'm definitely more on the is it Friday yet?
Is it Friday? Yeah. Has your rating changed from 6? Has it gone up to 7?
Yeah, it's gone up because I understand it better. I didn't really know I didn't have a good understanding of what was going on. I'm stupid. I need help.
is having somebody with the background and stuff like that compared to the common man. Can you just appreciate this if you don't know anything about it? Can you just turn it on and enjoy it? And with this show, yes, you can, obviously.
I mean, you can, but I mean, there's some. It also depends on how many times you watch it. I think multiple watches help you understand it better because there is so much to gain from watching with the subtitles on. Because there's little things you might miss. I mean, I miss things, and I'm looking for things because I've read the book.
Well, yeah, but the little things you're missing are things I don't know exist.
Yeah, sure, but I mean, it's still good for understanding because I mean, reading helps reinforce understanding in some ways. I mean,
oh yeah,
Kaylee texted me just a minute ago because she's like, I wouldn't have understand the show if you weren't explaining it to me, so it makes sense that Brian doesn't understand the show too. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I get that. For some sometimes you need more explanation, but I think also like rewatching it helps a little bit. But sure, I mean,
It would help.
having an external source definitely helps too. So I mean, I'm helping you.
Well, that's the best help is having an external source.
Yeah, but I do hope it becomes easier to follow. But maybe watch them all again before episode 5 comes out. See if that helps.
So 5, 6, 7. There's 8, right? So we got 5, 6, 7, 8 for this season. Okay.
So in like 4 weeks, we'll be back to recap at the
start of the year, start of January.
Yeah, so
I guess somewhere around there.
Yeah, so we'll.
It will be. I think it'll be the first podcast of the year. Will be Wheel of Time.
Yeah, so
there's 5 episodes left. There's 5 weeks left in the year.
No, it's 4 episodes left.
Oh yeah. It'll be the first podcast of the year then.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll be back for more Wheel of Time once the series is over. I'm not sure what we're doing next week, but I'm sure we'll figure something out.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't there a new the new Spider-Man come out, or?
I think it'll be it's after our next podcast.
Mid-December, I think. Yeah.
So
we'll figure it out. We've never had problems with that, really.
Yeah, there's plenty of stuff going on, especially in the wintertime. There's tons of stuff in the wintertime.
Yeah,
we'll find something. Expanse is starting soon.
Email David at synthaholics@yahoo.com. I'm gonna plug it every time. If somehow somebody's made it to the end of this podcast, please email. I want to verify it works. I've tried it; it doesn't work. Somebody send an email and follow the TikTok that doesn't exist.
Like and subscribe on YouTube. Leave a comment.
Yeah, do all those things.
You think
all the things.
Yeah,
we're trying to get we're trying to be good people.
yeah. Let's grow this community. If you guys like what we have to say and like our takes on things, please definitely share and follow and follow us here on the Twitch channel so you can watch us live. We stream every other Saturday around 1 p.m. Eastern time, so you can catch us live or the following Wednesday on YouTube. So, well, thank you all for listening. I hope you've had a good time. I've definitely had a good time talking about one of my favorite books being adapted to a TV show.
You certainly sound like you have.
I'm pumped. I can't wait for more.
I told David, I'm like, prepare for a lot of blank stares and explanations.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm trying to explain things as succinctly as I can. I'm sorry if I ramble.
Well, yeah, you're not only explaining it to Brad and I. I'm sure there's people listening that also need to understand what's going on, because like you said, Kaylee and me are like, good thing we have you, because otherwise I'd be in a ditch somewhere saying like, what's an Aes Sedai?
How do you spell that?
How do you spell Aes Sedai?
AES space SEDAI.
See, look it, I got everything I need.
I think I spelled it. I'm a terrible speller, don't ask me, but I got the first part right.
All right, everyone. Take care.
Remember Manetheren. We'll see you next time.
Bye.